And
Sending
finds
that
one
back.
that's not super good.
Yeah, and I'm looking down at on the bottom half of our screen, and yeah, that is a green source, and we have a ton of attunes. You can't really complain too much with that many attunes. You're just able to get that 6 energy with that alone, and then just, we're in the Aetherworks Marvel waiting room.
Yeah, really quickly. So Attune with Ether is going to go and find a basic land and get 2 energy counters. So off to a good start there for Shintaro Ishimura.
You played a fair share of energy on Arena, I can see, with that sound effect. So that was pretty accurate.
Castle Garenbrig off the top there, so no shortage of lands here for Shintaro. He's going to brainstorm to take a look at the top few cards of the library, finds an Ether Hub and 2 Bone Crusher Giants.
And most importantly, this is a really cute interaction that we don't see too often, is you get to put 2 cards on top and then attune. So, you know, kind of doing its best Fabled Passage impression here. So a nice brainstorm deck. I don't know if I want to go as far to say the best brainstorm deck, but there's a lot of ways for Shintaro to shuffle his deck after a brainstorm. It's been really fun to watch.
He's been really fun to watch. Just every turn amuses him greatly, and I'm enthralled by his camera. So if I miss something on the board, just fill me in later. I'm I'm having a good time.
The only thing we'd miss is not watching Shintaro's camera. That's the main thing that we'd all be missing if we're not watching that.
So Attune with Ether goes to find an island, 4 energy counters for Shintaro. It's going to be digging to find that Aetherworks Marvel and get that down the battlefield as quick as he can.
Absolutely. And Noah does not have the best hand here. That is really slow. You want to see, you know, maybe some Magma Opus here, maybe a little bit of counter magic to just do something in these early turns. But yeah, we need to do a lot of drawing of some good cards to get to that point where Gearhulk is a good play.
Rogue Refiner is going to make its way down to the battlefield, draw a card, and there's the 6 energy counters for Shintaro Ishimura. All he needs now is that delightful artifact that lets him potentially get Ulamog down.
Yeah, and the way it would work out, you know, next turn, if Shintaro drew it and just had the vibe to go for it, it would work. But if not, we kind of got 2 draw steps at it, because playing Aetherworks Marvel on turn 5 with the Dispute backup is likely to work against that commit. So this Expressive Iteration is a pretty nice one as well.
Yeah, excellent pickup here, being able to dig through a couple more cards in the library, send some away that you aren't too happy to see. So the likelihood that he'll find it is increasing ever so slightly every turn.
Yeah, and good news for Noah is we at least have that Triumph to be able to cycle a little bit, kind of get 2 draw steps this turn when we're this flooded where you don't need land 7. So not all bad news.
Shintaro is going to go for the Bone Crusher Giant here and just get more of a battlefield established. Against these control decks, you want to try and get them dead as quick as you possibly can. So I like this, just getting 7 power on the board, taking him down to 10 next turn, unless Noah has something to respond with here.
Exactly, kind of forcing that aspect of it where, like, you got to have a Lightning Helix, got to have an Anger just to deal with these creatures, and then we'll worry about trying to get Marvel and go way over the top once you're forced to do that.
Yeah, so 7 damage taken there, down to 10. A Prismari Command here from Noah. He'll be able to deal with one of these creatures and draw a couple cards, if that's the way he wants to go.
Or even a Treasure, and then be able to cast Gearhulk next turn.
Yep.
A pretty effective play. And then we don't have like Magma Opus or anything that's devastating in the graveyard, but we do just have that Prismari Command. So 6 mana, 5/6 Prismari Command again. Not too bad. Yeah,
not too bad. And having the biggest creature on the board too, get in the way of these attackers. That's a pretty good defense strategy there for Noah.
Gigantha's interesting here. It seems like you'd want to really just try to maximize your looks at Aetherworks with Expressive Iteration, but Shintaro on the beatdown plan. Let's go.
So there we're going to see Prismari Command deal with the Rogue Refiner, making a treasure token, and no shortage of lands here. So we will be able to see Torrential Gearhulk come on down.
Yeah. Shintaro luckily has that Mystical Dispute and has left that blue mana open pretty much since the beginning of the game. So not super afraid of Gearhulk yet. Yeah. And those main deck disputes are going to be very valuable in this matchup.
Oh, for sure. It's an interesting choice here to be made.
Yeah, and there's only 2 of them too, so Noah might just not play around it too. Like it's tough to play around a 1 or a 2 of. Sometimes you have to, but
yeah. So you can see Mono is just waiting to see what the play is going to be, as commit to memory is available to him. Gigantha might not be worth the commit here, but this is the one spell that would resolve in his hand currently.
yeah, it's interesting. If you want to just fire the commit and kind of have a mystical dispute check, and then we'll see if Shintaro values that, or it's kind of reaching for it already. So this easily could just be a snap counter. Nope. Says no. Just wants to make sure Gearhulk is under check. I like that. No dispute from Shintaro.
Yeah, another Torrential Gearhulk drawn there. And it's quite happy just to play the extra land and pass the turn back. He's getting very, very close to dead here, though, and is going to be forced to make a move very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one of these Gearhulks under control from Shintaro, but that second one can do some work, so we got to try to find something else.
Yep, and Mystical Dispute will resolve. This Torrential Gearhulk is not going to have any more to do in this matchup, as Shintaro takes Noah down to 2 here.
All right, if we were to iteration and there's an Aetherworks Marvel, the spin is open.
Or a stomp.
Or a stomp. Stomp's probably a little better. Just kill you.
Yeah, let's just go for the I'm going to kill you instead.
Where's the fun in that, though? We want to see a spin and then stomp, of course.
All right, brainstorm. Come on, stomp it. Let's finish this game off in style.
There's the Marvel, a little out of order.
Drat, I say. Unfortunately, no stomp there to wrap things up for Shintaro Ishimura, so he's going to have to wait for one more turn.
Picking which cards to shuffle away here, which ones we don't want. We're able to Expressive Iteration again, or cast out a tune with Aether to search up another land to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Gigantha just wants to hang out here with Shintaro, but looks like this might be the second pick to go back into the library, and as you mentioned, does have the Attune with Ether to act as a Fabled Passage.
Yeah, Gigantha's like, come on, I'm always in the companion zone. I finally get to hang out. You're going to throw me away like this? Really agonizing over this decision, but I mean, this is a big moment. That MPL Gauntlet versus Rivals Gauntlet is a huge difference. So it's going to make sense. These players are going to slow down with this much on the line.
Yeah. The land for turn is going to be Castle Garenbrig. Attune with Ether is going to find a mountain. Only 2 lands left in the deck, and Woodreevel's Puzzle Knot hits the battlefield and gains even more energy. 13 energy at this point. Ooh. Good draw there from Noah, finding the Dovin's Veto.
Mm-hmm. Dovin's Veto and Gearhulk able to be played. I mean, right there, that keeps you alive, because Gearhulk really does have to be played to pressure this Bone Crusher Giant and just to stop it from hitting you. And then you got to stop Marvel, because eventually it is going to activate and hit Ulamog, or just hit any kind of goodies that could be bad news for you.
All right, well, there is the lethal threat of Bone Crusher Giant down on the battlefield. Expressive Iteration. It's going to be able to take a look through the top cards of the library and find potentially another way to close out this game here. Ono is in a bit of a tricky predicament right now with Torrential Gearhulk able to block if there is no counterspell in hand here for Shintaro.
Yeah, and it's interesting if you're going to Dovin's Veto this, if you want to Dovin's Veto first, or you want to actually cast Gearhulk and make sure you have a blocker. I love this play here. Get the Gearhulk down first, then decide if you want to counter. Because if this gets Mystical Disputed, you have to Dovin's Veto that dispute.
Yeah. So commit recast from the graveyard, courtesy of Torrential Gearhulk, is going to get rid of that Expressive Iteration. And we'll see another one being fired off here.
Yeah, and here's part 2 of bait. Shintaro's like, please counter that. Let me play the card that really matters that you don't know about.
Oh, hey, we got it. Oh, is it gonna be cast? Let's see. Dovin's veto on expressive iteration. You can see a slight head nod there from Shintaro. He's going to be quite pleased with that because
Shintaro giving the people what they want and another spin of Aetherworks Marvel.
What does he find? Harness Lightning, a couple of expressive iterations, and Bone Crush into the face.
Yes.
There you go. Excellently done there by the Aetherworks Marvel deck in the hands of Shintaro Ishimura. So we are 1-0 so far in this tiebreaker. So let's take a look at the sideboard here. What do you think we're going to see differently in the next game?
We are probably going to see more Mystical Disputes come in from Shintaro. Maybe some of these shifting Ceratops, but maybe I should be starting with Manoa instead, just because Shintaro did that completely transformational sideboard last round and went into creatures and then went back into Marvel. So I think Shintaro is capable of bringing in anything at this point. So we'll see what he does.
Certainly an interesting sideboard. You don't often see Robber of the Rich hanging out there, but this is what he's put in. 2 Robbers, 3 shifting Ceratops, the Mystical Disputes, and out goes an Aetherworks Marvel, a couple Harness Lightnings, the Puzzle Knot, as well as the Meltdown. And then look at Noah's sideboard. It's just all of this out, get out, all of this in. Wow, yeah, that is a big change.
A huge change up top from Jeskai Control, but you gotta love the shifting Ceratops here. Not only do they not get Lightning Helix, they don't get countered or anything. There's only 2 answers from what I can see in the main deck configuration, and that's Justice Strike and Seal Away. We get 1 more of each of them, so it's not like that card is unbeatable, but it's still very powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, and sweeper effects taken out as well, so there's not that many ways to deal with all Shifty C. So let's jump into game number 2 here and see how this goes.
Let's check it out.
All right, opening hands for our players. They both seem happy with what they've got. So let's get things underway here in game number 2.
Yeah, both hands look great. You know, we got those double Gear Hulks and then some counter magic to get you there. The Robber of the Rich is not what we wanted to see, and in fact, didn't even play an untapped land to possibly Memory Lapse, but kind of got bailed out by the Lightning Helix. But Shintaro's hand just looks like every card I've loved to cast over the last like 10 years. So I am super jealous of Shintaro's deck.
Well, here comes the Lightning Helix. That'll take care of the Robber of the Rich before he can thieve his way to victory. But there is the backup Robber. He's going to have to hang out a second, though, as Rogue Refiner hits the battlefield, gets an Aetherworks Marvel off the top of the library, and 2 energy.
Yeah, I think the most 2021 type of Magic is Aetherworks Marvel into Stomp for the win. I just love that. That's so good.
Brainstorm there as well. Expressive Iteration is going to kick things off here for Shintaro in this turn. Will this meet its end with a Mystical Dispute or a Memory Lapse?
Yeah, Noah's been pretty aggressive on countering things so far. Expressive Iteration also just represents 2 cards, so a definite reason to counter it. But now we're going to see Robber of the Rich coming in, and here comes the beatdowns, and we're going to need a couple more lands. And is that a swamp?
It is a swamp.
This is a Jeskai control list, right? I didn't even see any reason.
It's a rock and 1 swamp.
All right. Can't argue with that. It's like, was that an accidental include in my Jeskai deck, or?
I'm having a look. I'm seeing where the black man is needed.
Yeah, I was looking too.
Chromium, the mutable.
Chromium, yeah, the control breaker. Chromium is incredible and just used to absolutely dictate matches on its own back in these, Azorius control days of Teferi Hero of Dominaria being in Standard. This card was so hard to deal with.
I'm a dragon, now I'm a human. I'm a dragon, now I'm a human. Yeah, I remember that card. It was a pain in the butt to play against.
It truly was. All right, couple Marvels to the top.
Oh, stomp the face to get the rubber trigger. Do it. Do it. Come on, steal the cards. You know you want to.
As cool as it is, I think making sure you can counter the Torrential Gearhulk is probably a little safer, but definitely not as fun. I will agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Look at these Magic players being so efficient and stuff. You know? And just so everyone is aware, this is the first of 3 matches that these players will be playing against each other. So plenty more Magic even after this first match is resolved.
Can we give them some more matches as well? I mean, this deck is
You're enjoying
so
this, aren't you?
Yeah, I really am. Can we get a best 5 out of 9 or something?
Please no. It's so late for them. Have mercy.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, they need to sleep too.
So Marvel can be laid down now, but it's not amazing or anything. You also have the option to just play Shifting Ceratops, but that does play into different Wrath effects, specifically Wrath of God. I kind of like just playing Marvel, and then if there's a Wrath, at least you get 2 energy, and then you have 5 mana for next turn where you can go Shifting Ceratops and just give it haste and attack through.
Yeah, I do believe he took the Wraths out, though, so he'll be all right for this.
Okay.
This turn. I mean, Shifty C is uncounterable, so there is the option to wait and just chuck him out when you need to kill things.
Yeah, and Shintaro doesn't know about that. That's why the hands are together and is like, please
no
do
kill.
Not have Wrath.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please don't kill my board.
It's pretty crazy to see Shintaro this animated. Usually a completely stoic player. You have no idea what's on it. I'm just kidding. He is very animated and been so fun to watch.
Well, the one saving grace here in Torrential Gearhulk, besides having a chunky 5/6 to block the 3/2, is that Lightning Helix will give him a little bit of reprieve here with 3 life after taking care of one of these attackers.
Yep, Lightning Helix goes up to 9, and then a Shifting Ceratops will send you down to 4, stomp down to 2. That's not 0. And we just have an Aetherworks Marvel as a follow-up. But no, it doesn't have anything to deal with this Shifting Ceratops, and in fact has very few ways to deal with it, even in the deck list. So this could be the first match ending already as soon as next turn.
In a pretty spectacular fashion, you know, we didn't see Temur Marvel being played much at all, and it's been a real treat, I will say. I wasn't around when this was in Standard, at least, well, I was obviously around, I just wasn't playing Magic at that point.
Yeah.
But it's super cool to see just these big effects. Like, oh, cool, I'll just have a 10/10 for free. That's nice.
Yeah. No big deal. I got to play a couple of GPs with it. In fact, one where I drove with my brother Brad to GP in Omaha where he took first.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Playing Aetherworks?
Playing Marvel, yep.
Nice.
Yep, he took it down.
Oh, expressive iteration. Can we find a stomp off the top here?
Well, we don't need it as of now. Well, I guess we do have Castle, but we can just give it Trample.
Yeah.
So yeah, this should be it. But going through all the stages just to make sure. There's another
Shifting Ceratops. Feels good. And get some Ether Hub in there, maybe. Sure, why not? Get that down. Yeah, with this attack, you know, Mono is pretty dead. And but could cycle into something that saves him. So Shintaro is going to make sure all his bases are covered.
So could cycle into Seal Away or Justice Strike if Shintaro doesn't attack with everything. If Shintaro attacks with everything, there's no out. But with this, we got an out. And that's not enough mana, unfortunately.
Yeah, that ain't it. So match number 1 goes to Shintaro Ishimura. Bows respectfully to his opponent. And we're going to go to the next match after this break, my friends. So it is not over yet. There's still another match of Magic to come at the very least. We're going to do a quick switcheroo with Cedric and Marshall, and they'll be back with you after the break.
And welcome back, Cedric. We get another round here, buddy. We've got the second match between our tiebreakers here between Noah Ma and Shintaro Ishimura as they line up again. Two quick games, or relatively quick games there for Shintaro. I'm curious to see if he can continue that trend going forward against the control deck here in the hands of Noah Ma. Of course, everything on the line for these players here trying to get into that MPL gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a ton on the line here, and Marvel looked good. It's looked good a couple of times now, so perhaps we get to see it do its thing one more time to make Shintaro very, very happy. Excited to watch.
Yeah, it's interesting, Zed, as we work our way down, we can take a quick look at the list here, but we'll get right to the match once we can. Has the hallmarks, right, of a deck archetype that has been consistently great anytime that a good version of it has popped up, and that is this. It has an oops, I win.
Yep.
But it also has a solid primary game plan, right? It has some efficient stuff with the removal spells, the harness lightnings, that type of stuff. It has good card draw, right? You've got expressive iteration in this deck. You've got brainstorm in this deck. And it has a consistent creature strategy thanks to the addition of cards that didn't exist when this deck was out before, like Bone Crusher Giant and that type of thing. And that can be tough to beat, particularly if you're a control player.
Absolutely, it can be. And I mean, we didn't see much from Jeskai that last match, right?
Right.
Didn't look great.
No. It looked like a mix of answers that didn't line up very well with what Shintaro was doing, right? The best oh,
indeed.
Double Mog in the opener. He had one in his opener and drew one off the top of the library, and he can smile. But here's the thing: Brainstorm. That card did not exist in the standard where this deck dominated for the stretch that it did. And you can actually get rid of your Ulamogs, shuffle them back in. Now, it doesn't happen easily, but you can do it.
You can do it. Brainstorm with fetch, with attune, stuff like that. I mean, this is the pain. Double Ulamog is the pain, but it can be fixed. Like unlike previous versions where it was like if you drew your Ulamogs, you're like, I want to throw up. This isn't the end of the world.
Right.
Well, we drew the namesake, and now here's the very powerful iteration.
And now Shintaro's just laughing. He's trying to decide if he should go for expressive iteration, which could put him in a position. Let's see. He plays the land he might discard. Is that correct?
Maybe. I mean, I love how much fun we're having.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to cast it because if he ends up with the card in his hand, well, now he's really discarding.
Well, yeah. Well, if you add that, you discard two.
Oh.
All right, Ulamog down. Fair enough.
Only need one anyway, he says. Pretty funny, though. And a much better start here for Noah as he's got he has relevant permanents on the battlefield for starters. There's the brainstorm, though.
There you are. And now because you have a brainstorm, you're like weirdly incentivized to maybe keep Ulamog in your hand to set it up. It's
more awkwardness, though, because well, at any rate, he's going to go for expressive iteration here.
Ulamog, get out of here.
So, unfortunately, this gets a little more interesting. Normally, you wouldn't mind putting it back into your library, but it does go to the bottom, which isn't a good spot for it with regards to Aetherworks Marvel. But there are shuffles available, so it'll work out.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so do we have to discard again? Just throwing lands away now. See you later.
This is brutal. He's not super interested in Brainstorm with Narset on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because Brainstorm with Narset on the battlefield, right? It doesn't work, but you have to put 2 cards back. But then putting 2 cards back on top of your deck, you put an Ulamog back, and then you have Marvel going. Like, you actually get to do your thing.
Right.
But clearly not interested in the Brainstorm, so discarded it.
He has the Attune with Ether, which will shuffle. He's going mono fair aggro here. Gigant the Wellspring goes on the stack.
Take
that, Lightning Helix.
To say that we're doing this the hard way is the understatement of the decade. We're discarding brainstorms. We're finding Ulamogs and discarding them. Now we're facing down. It looks like a 5-mana Teferi. I mean, this is This is a big difference than the last match we watched.
That's right. This one could well and truly be over before we even blink here. I think the only real out at this point is for Shintaro is to try to do the Aetherworks Marvel thing. And yeah, he's just going to scoop him up. That
I love it.
Absolutely horrendous showing from his deck there. Discarded the hand size twice.
I love just a good, you know what? I'm out of here. My deck gets better after sideboard anyway. I got some Shifty Seas to bring in, some robbers, some disputes, get these horrible meltdowns out of my deck, these harness lightnings that are quite bad, these puzzle knots which are pretty bad. And I'll just throw this first game away. It's been a long day. Get this thing out of here.
Yeah, and seriously, like when your opponent has both of those planeswalkers going where you're locked out of finding new stuff for the most part, they're seeing multiple cards per turn, you're not going to win. And it's going to take a long time for you to lose too. And there's also no information to be gained. They know the deck list.
Yep. So you might as well just, I'm calling it. I'm out of here. Moving on.
Here's a Brainstorm now, and there is an Ulamog there. So actually 2 cards that really aren't needed are going to go to the library here, but this gets a little bit awkward because they're still there.
Yep.
But the sideboard plan is in effect. He gets in with Robber of the Rich.
I'm going to slow it down maybe a touch.
Lightning Helix is going to take care of that straight away.
Maybe a scotch.
There's the Ulamog off the top of the library. Well, another Brainstorm. Does he have a blue source? Yes, he does. So he can cast that this turn, plus the other Ulamog. Get that on the bottom.
Okay.
A little weird, a little different than you normally do it, but it'll work.
That's a few too many lands.
Still no shuffle here, though, huh?
Nope. And we have like no energy.
Like actual 0.
Yeah, and we know what we're drawing, which are going to be those
Junk.
2. Yep.
Well, this hasn't gone particularly well.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, Noah Ma maybe has the ability to interact here. Currently, brick walls across the board here. He can just throw an Aetherworks Marvel out there and say, yeah, do something about it. God, if it gets memory lapse, though, you're like Brainstorm locked on your own dead cards, and then they go back on top anyway. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
All right, it resolved. And you see why there's a Prismari command in hand here for Noah Ma.
All right, well, you blow that up. You get an energy up to 2. Keeping it positive.
Energy slowly climbing upwards. What's the other mode? Okay, it's treasure token for Manoa, so he is keeping his options open.
Boom!
There's one on the bottom. There's one in his hand.
So do we lapse this? The turn could be you lapse this, then you just play Baneslayer. It's like, all right, that's my plan. All right, yeah, let's go. Let's go, Flying Angel.
And it's funny because when you say Baneslayer, it usually doesn't mean literal, but it's like, yeah, no, it's Baneslayer.
Nah, just actual Baneslayer Angel circa, oh my gosh. I actually think circa 2010. Oh boy, I'm old.
Yeah. That is when that card came out, M10. Technically, it came out in 2009, by the way, Seth.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
So you're even older.
I wasn't sure if it was 9 or 10 that it came out. I remember when it first came out, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, M10 was debuted in 2009.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Put this land over here. Don't need that. Get this attune. Up to 4 energy now. Okay.
So the energy count's going up. There's a shuffle involved here, so that Ulamog that was on the bottom somewhere in range, or, not on the bottom anymore.
Are we going to iteration, or are we going to wait? Looks like we're going to wait on iteration.
Yeah, the land drop, I guess, was the deciding factor there. Also keeping up Mystical Dispute. But Mystical Dispute doesn't do anything here, and that is a very quick clock that Manoa has put out. 9U.
Yep,
down to 4.
You're at 4.
Either creature's lethal. Magma Opus is lethal. 2 Prismari commands are lethal.
Got a dispute, though. Now, the problem is this Prismari command, of course.
Right. And I guess a Prismari command just blows up the Marvel and gives you a treasure?
Yeah, that. All of that. Prismari command is a real hoot against this deck.
It really is. It's definitely one of the weaknesses to playing the deck for sure, is that the popularity of Prismari command.
All right.
Tap them out, and Shintaro's going, well, is there a point to doing that?
There
What
might
if
be.
I draw another thing? All right, up to 5 energy, which is not enough.
Oh yeah, huge. Just the best draw in the world right there.
And Shintaro's kind of rocking back and forth because these cards are not going to get the job done, and that's going to be Manoa picking up a very quick second match and forcing the third one. Yeah, hit that restroom real quick, Manoa, because it's coming at you quickly here. That wasn't close, Ed. That was an absolute
not even
beating.
a little. I'm sorry. Some games and matches is just like, this isn't even a thing that's happening right now. Just getting crushed on every front. Draw steps or Ulamog regularly. Just, what are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to say?
I mean, there's some words I could use to describe that, but they're definitely not stream appropriate.
No, they are not. That was the first match, which Ailey and Corey covered, was pretty one-sided, and this one was similarly one-sided. So now what, we got one more for it all?
Yeah, we got one more for it all. Maybe that one will be a little closer.
Jeez, I hope so.
Okay, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have that third and defining match. We'll see you then.
Talk about blink and you'll miss it magic, Corey. I don't even feel like I left the booth. That match was over in seconds.
I was like, God, I'll sit down, I'll relax, maybe start a book or something, and be like, oh, wait, they're done? Oh, okay, I'm on my way.
So, friends, if you're just joining us, we are in a tiebreaker here between Shintaro Ishimura and Namoa, both trying to get into the MPL Gauntlet. So this final matchup will decide which of these players makes it into the Rivals and which of them makes it into the MPL Gauntlet. Jeskai Control versus Temur Aetherworks. Let's jump in and see what happens in this match.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about going to get a beverage or something, I wouldn't do that. You do not have the time to make it back in time and still finish this match at that rate.
Yeah, these games are going quite quickly. So a clean 2-0 one way, then a clean 2-0 the other way. Now let's see what happens in this deciding matchup here as we get things underway with a Attune with Ether from Shintaro Ishimura.
Yeah, that last one, Manoa just had a phenomenal hand, and Shintaro's hands were just non-functional. But now this looks like another just absolute beautiful hand from Shintaro. So I don't know, are we bad luck for Manoa, or?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. But both hands looking pretty good here so far for both these players. So we're going to see Rogue Refiner hit the battlefield here, get a couple more energy counters, and draw a card. What is on top of the deck here for Shintaro? Will we see Memory Lapse here, do you think, Corey?
Yeah, Memory Lapse is definitely an option. We can also just Justice Strike this Rogue Refiner. You know, we'll see what Manoa has been looking to do. He's been pretty aggressive about his counterspells so far, so we'll see if it continues that trend. You also do have the option to Memory Lapse and then Field of Ruin the next turn. It's not the best play, but it is an option to get rid of something that you do Memory Lapse.
So Rogue Refiner meets its end with a Justice Strike, finds a Mystical Dispute off the top of the library there for Shintaro.
That was a great top deck.
Oh boy.
Narset there.
Hey, Narset.
Welcome.
Ruh-roh. Narset's going to take a squiz on top of the library and finds good old buddy Teferi.
Yeah,
not what you want to see if you're Shintaro.
No, definitely not. Was able to get up to 5 energy with Aether Hub, but really needed to play back-to-back Aether Hubs to be able to get to that 6 energy. But the one good side here for Shintaro is next turn, we can go up to 6 energy with that Aether Hub and have Mystical Dispute back up. And as I'm seeing right now, I don't see a second way to stop. And that was a brick from Narset. We can see a spin next turn.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Will we see big old Ulapog on the battlefield, as he's affectionately known on Twitch?
Ulapog, huh? I like it.
Ulapog champ.
Yeah, and I mean, we will have the one activation as well, because there is Teferi hanging on the other side. So if it's a brick like Narset just did on the other side, then we'll be able to clean it up. But first we have to see if Shintaro is actually going to go for it.
Yeah, if the walls are down or if the door's open for him to do so, if not, why not go for it? Especially if you've got counterspell backup. So an interesting decision here for Manoa. Does he want to get down this clifftop retreat or the Field of Ruin?
Exactly, and it's like Manoa could have one Dovin's Veto, which you can't really do anything about, or multiple memory lapses. But that's really it. No, that's supposed to be one lower.
Bad.
That's supposed to be one lower.
He's going to have to send this Ulamog to basic training, I think.
Yeah. That Ulamog doesn't look like it's the most, not the best listener,
No.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the only one in the list. He is able to find another one, but let's see what happens here. Aether Hub is going to get the 6th energy counter. Here's Aetherworks Marvel on the stack. Manoa is going to respond here with a counter spell. And Memory Lapse will be able to take care of that, but he decides to just leave it on top.
You can't see my face right now, but I'm gasping. I am absolutely gasping. I can't believe we didn't try to do that. I mean, I guess the train wreck scenario of Memory Lapse into Memory Lapse, untap Teferi is a real thing. But yeah, you really feel like you wanted to go for it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Teferi is a real problem. So the fact that Shintaro values countering that over potentially getting Ulamog on the battlefield, I can understand that.
Yeah, and then we kind of saw a little head nod from Shintaro. It's like, oh yeah, Field of Ruin. That's right. You're just thinking, yeah, I can just recast it next turn and try to deal with it then. But Field of Ruin says no.
Yep, unfortunately, that's not the case. So now he's drawing an unknown card. It is going to be Stomping Ground. What can Expressive Iteration find here for Shintaro?
We've got a Stomp. Harness Lightning doesn't really have too much text in this first game. You can hit Torrential Gear Hulk if those hit the battlefield, but that's about it.
Yeah. Now, if Shintaro had been more aware of the Field of Ruin, do you think that would have changed his decision?
I would think so. It seemed kind of like a no-brainer, or kind of like a slam dunk scenario to just try to back it up at least, right? Because if you have that Dovin's Veto, you think you would just lead with it, maybe baiting out with memory lapse. But yeah, I think probably if Shintaro would have realized the Field of Ruin, would have probably went for it, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. Teferi's still pretty scary to me, so.
Very.
It's going to just pass the turn back here. Memory Lapse is drawn for Manoa. The Fairy Hero of Dominaria is going to make an appearance, at least on the stack, as Mystical Dispute is going to get rid of this powerful Planeswalker. And Shintaro should now be aware that there's no Mystical Dispute in hand.
Yep, absolutely. And Mystical Dispute, they're not going to be the biggest deal with the 3-man opener. And I'm looking at the list now. I do see one. Ooh. Yeah, there's only one. There we go.
It's time to boogie.
All right. Yes.
Let's do it.
Put that into Excel, and now we know we're going to be spinning.
All righty, Ulamog. Top 6 cards. Let's go. Drum roll. I don't know how to drum roll. There we go. There's the drum roll. It's bad.
Waiting to do it on the end step. I like it. I like it.
Ooh, this is a tricky pickle here for Manoa now. Doesn't really have that much going for him. I mean, Mizzix's Mastery might have something it can hit in the graveyard. I'm not 100% sure what's in there right now that it could target, but this is not looking good.
Yeah, not looking great. Didn't even see a spin there from Shintaro.
I'm scared that he draws another Ulamog.
Yeah, right?
And I bet you I've cursed him now. Please don't draw another Ulamog. Okay, good. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah, this has been a very interesting game, I must say.
So at this point, is he looking for another Brainstorm to get this Ulamog back into the library to guarantee the hit?
That's definitely a possibility, but at this point, the short answer is I have no idea what we are thinking right now. I would have just been spinning this Aetherworks Marvel and trying to get it going as soon as possible, but yeah, maybe Shintaro just realizing that, you know what, there's not that much going on my opponent's side. I might as well wait till I can really set up a ridiculous draw. Yeah. And I believe, I mean, next turn, we can just cast Ulamog.
Yeah.
You know, with Castle.
Hard cost, why not?
Yeah.
Sure, there's a memory lapse, but that's kind of a good thing. If you think about it, if Ulamog gets memory lapse, then it's like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to hit off the top of my library. Thank you very much, Manoa.
Yeah, you memory lapse that, which, you know, honestly, Manoa might absolutely have to do, and then you activate Aetherworks Marvel, like, hello.
Go on, do it. It's kind of like an insurance policy here for Ulamog. Oh, and he would get to, he would get to cast it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
So he would get to exile 2 things. Oh, no.
Get to exile a solid 4 permanents here, which would leave no blue on the other side, and it would just be a little bit of red-white mana, and what are you going to do about that?
Oh, that's so gross. Okay, yeah, so no memory lapse for that exact reason. Kind of valuing blue mana as a Jeskai control deck. There's a Narset, which you can cast as well as keep up the seal away for when Ulamog gets going. Is it spin the wheel time?
I thought it was spin the wheel time like 5 turns ago, so yeah. I really don't even know anymore. I'm just going to wait for Shintaro to act and see what he's doing.
Spin it, spin it, spin it. Come on.
Yeah, we got a whole chat full of people that really want to see it, Shintaro. Can do it now, I guess. That way if you hit a counter spell.
Yeah, do it. Oh, no. Narset gets to resolve. Fine. Okay. Keep us waiting. It's all good. Narset's going to minus and whiff.
Oh, no. That was the second whiff we've seen here from Noah.
I thought Collected Company was the bad card in terms of whiffing this weekend.
Yeah.
But here's Narset trying to take the cake.
All right. That's a respin. Not bad. Mm-hmm.
Buying some extra spins here with the Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. And Ulamog's going to go for a good old swing here at Madame Narset.
Exile 20 cards. No big deal.
Yeah, no biggie. So seal away is the option here. Not knowing if there is a counter spell in Shintaro's hand at the moment, but I think Monoa's got to go for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, keep your Narset alive, as well as just another attack is likely to just deck Manoa.
Yeah.
And, even if you don't actually deal the damage, it would just likely... Oh, there we go!
That's so gross! Oh no, Mystical Dispute off of the Aetherworks Marvel. And that is going to be the end of Narset, leaving good old Ulamog down on the battlefield.
So far, we have seen Aetherworks Marvel hit a Puzzle Knot, a Stomp for the win, and Mystical Dispute. Like, this is pretty absurd. Yeah, can't miss.
It just hits everything. And Mono has had enough. He's missing half his library and is about to miss half his life total too. So we're going to go to game number 2 here between these players.
This is incredible.
This is fun. Why aren't more people playing Aetherworks Marvel?
No kidding. Yeah, it's got to be more fun than playing some of these other historic decks. But wow, we're seeing a little bit of a shakeup this time. I don't think we saw the Locust God coming in.
Oh,
but
nice.
Shintaro, getting a little frisky with that Locust God coming in.
Let's make some bugs. I like it too. All right. I approve. This is going to be a fun one again here as we get ready for game number 2 between these players. Both have a match apiece, looking for their 3rd match win in this tiebreaker. All right, let's get the game underway here. There is that Lone Swamp making its appearance once again. Ideally would like that to be a Plains or another blue source for the Narsets in hand.
Yeah. Manoa has drawn that Swamp a lot. When that's a card you want to stay in your deck for a long time and just sacrifice a Fabled Passage for it. So not the luckiest there, that's for sure.
Brainstorm finds the Locust God, which is not gonna be a feature too early on in this game. So would be happy to send that away. No way to shuffle at the moment, though, unfortunately for him.
Yep, exactly what I'm seeing. So it seems like, you just want to put the Locust God and Shifting Ceratops on the top or an extra land. You're going to be drawing these cards, so it doesn't matter too much. Might see another Brainstorm next turn. It doesn't have the most value, but Expressive Iteration this turn really doesn't have that much value when you would only get 1 card out of it.
Yeah. So he's going to have to find a way to unlock the Brainstorm lock. And
that was a great draw.
Yeah, finding the second blue source. Here comes Narset. He's just hoping that there's no Mystical Dispute. There is not. Brainstorm fired off in desperation. It almost feels like trying to find that Mystical Dispute.
Yeah,
and also, Narset doesn't let you draw cards, so.
Yeah, brainstorming into Narset is the ultimate feels bad there. That one's brutal.
Narset's going to go digging, find something this time, a Memory Lapse and a Shark Typhoon. Both very good cards here.
Okay, not bad. Yeah, Manoa did not have the best cards to interact up until that Memory Lapse, so that was a pretty big pickup.
Swamp for turn. And looks like he's just happy to pass the turn back here without activating Narset, or is he going to go for it?
Interesting. Deciding to not activate Narset to play around Stomp. Not in the hand for Shintaro. And now Shintaro has the option. Do you want to try to Petty Theft and get that Memory Lapsed? Or do you want to just try to cast Brazen Borrow and probably get it Memory Lapsed? But or just untap and try to play something else.
All roads lead to Memory Lapse.
Exactly. But we are 1 turn away from Shifting Ceratops, which just is an incredibly hard card to deal with. Or a second turn where you can give it haste, wait till turn 5.
I mean, there's not a whole lot that deals with Shifting Ceratops in Manoa's deck. Like we mentioned, just a couple of Justice Strikes.
A couple of Sealways, that's really it.
Brazen Borrower is going to be cast here on the end step. And I think the consideration here for Shintaro is like, do I care about drawing this again? Do I want to have this 4th land rather? Get that down on the battlefield? What is the thought process going through his mind?
Exactly. Thinking if you want to Petty Theft the Narset and give Manoa an extra activation that he already used for Narset, or just, wow, do nothing there. And, maybe just jam Shifting Ceratops. I like it.
Yeah, don't hate that.
Now even Teferi next turn is like, it's okay. You can draw a card, and if you were to draw into a Justice Strike or a Seal Away, that's really how you pull away from this game.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it's just something that you get to attack right into with Shifting Ceratops. It lines up quite well to Teferi, Hero of Dominaria.
Yeah, Mono has got a lot of looks with the top cards of the library, though. There's the Shock Typhoon, there's Prismari Command being able to dig, Narset can dig, Teferi can dig, so chances of him finding an answer, pretty decent.
They are decent, and Narset to look again, and that is kind of the train wreck scenario if we find a Justice Strike or a Seal Away.
Looks like he's looking...
Yeah, it's a big turn.
Yeah, he's looking at a Boros card. Not the one he wants, though. A couple Lightning Helix and a Shark Typhoon.
Boros card for sure. And what are we thinking here? Prismari Command. Draw a couple cards.
Yeah, perhaps. I'll leave up the mana to be able to cast a Justice Strike if he finds it.
You also have the other really cool mode from Prismari Command when you have Narset on the battlefield. You can actually make your opponent draw 2 and discard 2, and if it's during their turn, they just discard 2 cards.
Yeah, that's the rude way to use that with Narset down for sure.
Yeah, that is very mean indeed.
All right, Narset taking another look, finds a Dovin's Veto and another Shark Typhoon. So this Justice Strike is playing hide and seek very well.
No kidding. Justice was not served so far.
Hide and seek champion of 2021 coming through.
There's a Marvel.
Ooh, okay. It's a little early.
Yep, exactly. I think this
but nice to have.
A couple value turns or a value sequence of Expressive Iteration. Maybe use a little Brazen Bar or Petty Theft at your opponent's end step. Doesn't seem like the full-on Aetherworks Marvel turn.
Yeah, no. Not yet. So that'll be a couple turns down the line. Here we're going to have a bit of a fight over Expressive Iterations. Memory Lapse is going to tap out Manoa. So now Shintaro can capitalize and get up to whatever shenanigans he pleases. It's going to be the second Expressive Iteration just to clear some cards off the top of the library and get that second Expressive Iteration back to hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Just putting that other Expressive Iteration to your hand, maybe getting a land out of it. Oh, yeah, that's kind of the head shaking scenario where you don't get a land and you don't have the mana to cast anything else. So now you get to pick one of these cards. The rest go away.
I mean, it's not the worst. If you didn't have lands in hand, it would be like, okay, that's a bit of a yikes.
Yeah.
But in this matchup, I mean, Harness Lightning, sure, it's useful. Rogue Refiner would be more useful, perhaps, being shuffled back into the library. Just because it does draw an extra card, replacing itself.
Yeah, I think it is between Rogue Refiner and Expressive Iteration. Being able to get a body on the battlefield, even though we see Lightning Helix across the way, or just some card advantage with Expressive Iteration. I think that's what you want to go for here. And you really just want to find another counterspell to be able to deal with any kind of Seal Away or something like that if that's found on Manoa's side.
Yeah. So Shifty C is going to get in and deal with Narset Parter of Veils. It is protected from pretty much everything in hand, barring that Lightning Helix, but without a second damage spell to follow up here. This Shifting Ceratops is going to stick around for quite a while.
As it does against most blue decks. It is quite the pest and a very tough card to play against. One of the most recent answers for it is Aether Gusting it with it on the stack. And that is not even the best answer to it, but that's what we've seen in the past.
So Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is down on the battlefield, going to draw a card. Can he find the Justice Strike? Nope. Finds a Memory Lapse instead.
We've seen so many cards to try to find one of these Seal Away or Justice Strikes. At this point, it's becoming just very unlucky.
So Teferi untaps, 2 mana up. The Dovin's Veto and the Lightning Helix are both known cards.
Yep, coming out to Teferi. Well, you're given the chance this turn and pretty much this turn only.
1 Teferi down, always a good feeling. Ooh, is it Locust God time? Are you gonna go for it? Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get Dovin's Veto. It does get Disputed and Memory Lapsed. So it'd be a little risky here still. But playing the land first kind of signals to me that we're not casting Expressive Iteration.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, we're either puzzle knotting to get a little bit of value and then using Brazen Borrower or Petty Theft on Manoa's turn, or we're just jamming Locust God. And with Shintaro smiling and reading that card, I'm starting to lean like we're heading that way. And I'm here for it. It's not going to work, but I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he knows about the Dovin's Veto. That can't counter the creature.
Exactly.
If he's lucky and it lands and there's no memory lapse in hand, then cool. He looks like a genius, right?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we know better. There's a memory lapse in hand, so it's going to get sent back. But memory lapse isn't a hard counter to it. So he's totally fine just being like, yeah, okay, what you got?
Looks like we're going to be memory lapsing this. Can't imagine you can let that resolve. And then we have Gear Hulk memory lapse for it next turn if need be. And Shintaro laughs it off a bit. It's like, all right, I had to try.
You got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes. Sometimes you miss it, you know. That's how it goes. And yeah, like you mentioned, Torrential Gear Hulks are plenty in hand here. They still can't block Shifting Ceratops, but they can certainly keep big threats like the Locust God off the battlefield.
Yep, absolutely. And now it's like, well, do we go for it again? Now it can be Gear Hulk. So I think it's a lot more risky now because getting that 5/6, all of a sudden you might be losing the race.
Yeah. Yeah, then just becomes a big old slap battle between these two decks where, you know, from from the Jeskai control side of things, you don't typically expect to see creatures swinging across the battlefield trying to win a game that way.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially if it's many creatures other than just Shark Typhoon tokens. We did see a decent amount of Gear Hulk control, you know, right away when Strixhaven came out with Magma Opus. But it just kind of went away from that. But we're back.
Yep. Dovin's Veto finds a target in Expressive Iteration, leaving Shintaro with a couple of options. But first things first, let's get our 5 points of damage in. Down to 11 goes Manoa. And follow that up with a Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot.
Has the option to Mystical Dispute this. Or just Prismari Command, maybe draw a couple of cards, try to find one of these Seal Away or Justice Strikes. So definitely a ton of options here.
Yeah, the biggest threat on the battlefield right now is definitely the Shifting Ceratops. So
yeah,
he's dug through plenty of cards and hasn't found an answer for it yet. So you've got to think he's getting close to one now.
It looks like we saw that Puzzle Knot highlighted for a bit. Maybe we're going to destroy that.
Yeah, so Prismari Command is on the stack at the moment. Well, almost on the stack. Just a couple of decisions being made here by Manoa. What is he going to go for?
Oh, I can't stop smiling at Shintaro. He is so
He's
awesome.
A delight.
Yeah, just such a delight to watch.
Okay, so more thinks being thought here by Manoa. Just deciding what he wants to do with this Prismari Command. And looks like we're going to go for 2 damage and a treasure.
Face is the place. Trying to maybe win this race. Ooh, Magma Opus.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, we can do it. It is on the table. To discard Magma Opus, get that treasure, and Gear Hulk it back. Now, that still does not solve the Shifting Ceratops problem.
I'm just watching Shintaro. He's having the best time.
Same. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. I can imagine being in his position. He's probably just like, I've played so much Magic today. What is happening?
Yeah, I just want to play a cube draft with Shintaro after this. You know, just
seems
have
like an absolute blast.
Decides to just Gear Hulk now instead of trying to do any Magma Opus shenanigans here. We do have that petty theft for this turn. I think at worst, we just want to bounce this shark. But yeah, it really looks like Manoa is just trying to get this game done with. If we're trying to deal some damage and just saying like, wow, I did not bring in enough ways to deal with shifting Ceratops. I got to try to win the old-fashioned way. Maybe didn't bring in all the Justice Strikes and Seal Aways this time.
Well, this is obviously very, very much signaling, okay, I need to kill you before this shifting Ceratops ends me. Yeah. And he is actually in a pretty good position. He's got 7 power on the battlefield right now. He has Lightning Helix in hand that can do 3 to face. Prismatic Command also deals an extra 2 here. So, it could actually work out in his favor here if he manages to string together this combination of damage.
It is actually lethal with just discarding Magma Opus and playing Gear Hulk next turn. If you're able to connect with the 2/2 Shark, the 5/6 Gear Hulk, and deal 2 damage, that is exactly 11. We'll see if this petty theft comes down. And of course, we always have the option of just not attacking with shifting Ceratops or sacrificing Puzzle Knot. So there's plenty of things that Shintaro can do about this. But as it stands, something has to be done.
Yeah, so both players just engaging in fisticuffs here. And I wouldn't be too surprised to see a petty theft on the Shark token here. You obviously don't want to give back the Torrential Gear Hulk.
Yeah.
Especially if there's some good juice in the bin, but looks like he's going to go for it.
Gear Hulk, get back to the hand. Interesting. Now, I mean, if we choose to use this Mystical Dispute here, we know that the Locust God is able to come down and play.
Yeah. Yeah, because not any extra mana there to be able to pay for that. But seems like the Mystical Dispute will take care of the petty theft. So Brazen Borrower is going away, and Shintaro is very happy with that Ether Hub draw because we get to spin the wheel now.
Do get to spin the wheel now. We get to exactly play this, sacrifice this, and what are we going to hit? Is this last game of League Weekend going to be decided by Ulamog? One can hope. Here we go.
It's not, but it's another shifting Ceratops.
Shifting Ceratops, but we do not have another green mana to give it haste or anything. It seems like it's still going to be the play here because it can at least block Torrential Gear Hulk while still getting in here. And then we are presenting lethal next turn for Shintaro. There's the Justice Strike, finally.
It showed up.
So that is a Justice Strike, and since we use that treasure, we are 1 short of Justice Striking, Gear Hulking back Justice Strike.
Oh my goodness. But he's not dead, and he has the Lightning Helix to pad his life total a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yes, Justice Strike, goodbye. So, some more energy there.
Okay.
Down to 7 goes Shintaro. No, Ulamog! No! Why? Where? Why? What?
Oh my god.
Bad, Chungus, bad. Oh, goodness me. All right, Locust God on the stack. So, I don't think Shintaro can attack here. Yeah, he has to sit back.
So either. God, is this game going to be decided by Lightning Helix? Is Craig Jones playing from way back in the day, that lovely Lightning Helix moment? Okay. And Lightning Helix here can go to the face. You have to sack a treasure. Gear Hulk brings back Magma Opus for the last 4 points of damage. It looks like we're heading to game number 3.
Oh my goodness me, what an absolute cracker of a match here between these two players. That was a delight.
Unreal.
Ooh-wee.
These last like 3 or 4 matches, 5 matches, however long we've been watching Shintaro play Aetherworks Marvel. I don't want it to stop. I don't want this to be the last game. These games have been incredible.
Well, I have some bad news, Corey. This is in fact going to be the last game. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, this should be the decider here. It all comes down to this. So let's take a look at their sideboarding decisions. Oh, goodness me.
Out of a best of three, where they have split matches and now they are split in games, you cannot really get any closer than this. Winner goes to the MPL Gauntlet. Loser goes to the Rivals Gauntlet here. So a ton on the line.
Oh, goodness me. All right. So everything to play for here between Manoa and Shintaro Ishimura. Tied on 43 points. We are in the final game here. In the final match. It all comes down to this.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty solid hand from Shintaro.
Yeah. Who doesn't like a couple of sharks in hand, huh?
Yeah, no kidding. Not bad up there as well for Manoa. We have the double Aetherworks Marvel, which is not necessarily ideal, but we do have that Brainstorm to do some tucking away, as well as just a Rogue Refiner next turn to be able to get some pressure going as well as amass some energy. Yep.
Lightning Helix in hand there to deal with the smaller creatures that Shintaro Ishimura could present. That's a lot of junk drawn there.
Not the best, but we can go something like Aether Hub, play Rogue Refiner. That's up to 3 energy. Yep. Then we can go Harness Lightning to put yourself up to 6 energy. Then on turn 5, we would have Aetherworks Marvel with Dispute backup for the full 6 energy. And as I'm looking at Manoa's hand, Lightning Helix doesn't stop any of that energy production. And as well as the Sharks don't really do anything for a little while. So as it stands, Manoa's going to need something. Otherwise, we might be spinning it.
Yeah, he needs a couple of counters here to stop this sequence that you've just described. And I'm pretty sure Shintaro will be quite pleased with that. There's a Bone Crusher Giant off the top of the library.
Yep, and that did stop the Harness Lightning play. You do still have to target a creature to be able to play it. So we do have a couple steps we need to get by. And a Baneslayer Angel drawn from Manoa.
Oh, that's a bit of a beating, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty interesting to not want to leave Mystical Dispute Mana open. I was going to say just in case we see a Narset. But if you do play Narset, you can just activate it once and then Bone Crusher can attack it. But if you play Narset and don't activate it, it lives. But Narset isn't the biggest deal against this Marvel deck as it is against, say, Is It Phoenix? You know, some of the other matchups where it's just backbreaking. It really only just desperately hurts Brainstorm.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, finds a couple of extra answers that Manoa wouldn't otherwise have. So let's see if we see anything here. Manoa is just going to pass the turn back. And we're going to go in here for an attack with Bone Crusher Giant. It's going to get...
Justice Strike is finally found. We'll see if
Strike?
We'll see if there is shifting Ceratrops that will lead Manoa to regret this a little later, but you can't just keep taking hits from Bone Crusher.
Kind of hurts after a while.
Definitely does hurt. But that should open the window for Marvel.
It did indeed. Now, unfortunately, Auto Tapper just being a bit of a silly thing.
All right, now Baneslayer could come down. We do have the Harness Lightning to be able to deal with it if need be. Or there's also that option of playing Harness Lightning on Baneslayer and not killing it and spinning. Yeah. I don't know if that's a safer play, but it is definitely the cooler play.
It's the more fun one. I like fun. Who doesn't?
And honestly, right here, instead of that, one option we have is just play Aetherworks Marvel. They see each other die.
Yep.
So they do get 2 energy here, and then you can reevaluate. Let's say you hit a Puzzle Knot, then you can, and that'd be bad. That'd be on the low end. If you hit Ulamog, you don't have to worry about anything. But if you hit Puzzle Knot, you can still harness. And here we go, that signature hand together. Let's spin.
What do we find?
Attune does still kill Baneslayer if need be. So we do have that going, but it'll completely drain the energy. And Shintaro
That's the most animated I've seen Manoa. He's just like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Now Manoa's doing the hands together look like, come on, just don't be Ulamog.
This is ridiculous. I love it.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no. There you go. He's happy about that. Fist bumps. Just in the tune with Ether. That's a big old womp, 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 womp for Shintaro.
And now what do? Do we save it? Do we just not care. Baneslayer is really not that big of a deal in, you know, the grand scheme of things. Like taking 5 hits here, 5 damage here and there, even if you gain, you can go up to 50 life, and Shintaro can still very effectively win the game just by decking off Ulamog. So
yeah.
I like the not harness lightning it, even though it felt really tempting. We still are 1 energy away from doing anything, even with that harness lightning. But let's say we can get that Brazen Borrower in front of Baneslayer. That's energy number 3. 4, 5, and 6 are harness lightning without out trying to kill anything, and we're back to spinning.
Botanical Sanctum is annoying Shintaro, so he's going to get that on the battlefield so that he has it untapped for next turn.
Yep.
And just passing the turn back, and here comes a big old Shark Typhoon. 3/3 on the battlefield. You will be able to Brazen Borrow this away, like you mentioned, and then be able to jump in the way of the Baneslayer Angel, but would leave himself unable to cast the Mystical Dispute.
Yeah, or if we just petty theft this Baneslayer saying, I dare you to recast that. Yeah, I like it. Because now this Brazen Borrower does trade with the Shark to gain an energy there. Now, the only problem with that is you do have to use an energy off Aether Hub, so it doesn't really accomplish anything right now, so we probably won't see it this turn. Now, anything produces energy, please. Hey, that's a good one.
Okay. This is going to get vetoed so fast.
Yeah, it probably will.
No.
Okay.
Oh man. This whole series between these two players has just been an absolute delight.
Yeah, this has been unreal. And now this petty theft. Okay, we do have 6 mana, so this petty theft can get cast without being countered, and you know, accomplish the amount of just it dying. That's the main thing. You just want Brazen Borrower to die and hope for the best. Here we go.
So in comes Brazen Borrower. Will we see a Mystical Dispute here from Manoa? More likely to see the Lightning Helix. Just kill this creature, keep the sharks alive, and keep applying the pressure.
No, Lightning Helix does kill it, and but it still does gain that energy. Now, let's see if Shintaro has the discipline to not try to harness Lightning with Dispute backup and try to spin at end step, and sees if you can wait to play around this Dispute. Or let's see if, I was going to say if Manoa just gave Shintaro the green light. Oh, man, this is intense.
Come on, there's going to be an Ulamog, I believe.
Oh, man. I just want to see him go for it here. We know that the coast is clear. If Shintaro goes for this, he will get a spin out of it, even with that Dispute, barring something like cycle Shark Typhoon for 1, find a Dovin's Veto, something like that. But yeah, and now we see it. We're just like, if this is a Shark, it is probably time to spin.
Yeah. I mean, some can take care of one of these, so he's not dead, but being at 1, hooey. That's not a feels good. Let's do it.
Are you not entertained, Chad? I mean, this is
fingers crossed. Hold your thumbs.
Matches. Pay 0.
Ulamog. Yes. Yep. Chant after me. Ulamog. What's spam this frog for Ulamog? I don't know, chat. You used to enjoy doing that.
Very nice.
Come on, let's go, Ulamog.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Welp.
Well, shifting Ceratops.
It's a shifting Ceratops. That's
thing.
Still pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good.
It is a thing that stops Shintaro from dying immediately.
Yes. Sneaky reach.
And we can stomp one of these now.
Yeah.
But no real point in doing so. You would honestly kind of want Manoa to make a bad attack first, right? Like attack with all of these, give it reach, and then block one of the 3/3s, stop the 2/2, and just take 3. Oh, justice!
No!
It's been served.
Not like this.
Okay, the stomp does still keep Shintaro alive at 1 life, and we're gonna have 1 more draw step. But at this point, you're just thinking, what can he actually draw to get himself up to that much energy? And it's Puzzle Knot. It's puzzle knot. How many puzzle knots are in? That's the best draw we got right now. Because you can put it into play.
Oh, Shifty. Good game. What a series here between Mono and Shintaro Ishimura. Shifting Ceratops is not going to cut it there, and Noah secures his spot. Look how much that means to him in the MPL Gauntlet. Congratulations to him. My goodness me, Corey. What a crazy series.